Hi, and welcome to another episode of What's the Dish. Today we're going to do one of my favorite meals. We're going to do pepper steak today. Pepper steak is absolutely delicious, but I like to serve rice with mine. And you could serve any type of rice. You can actually serve any type of starch that you want. We're going to use a jasmine rice. If you like basmati rice, you could use that. If you like regular plain white rice, you could use that as well. Boil in a bag is perfectly fine. It's just totally up to you. There are many different starches that you could serve with this, but we're going to use a nice plain jasmine rice. Absolutely wonderful. We're going to get that started first because it's going to take about 20 minutes to do. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a pot, and you're going to need about a cup of rice. And a cup of rice is going to feed, for me, a cup of rice feeds 2 people. I can honestly probably eat this whole thing by myself, but I eat a lot. Okay, so for me it's not a big deal. So rice in your pot, about a tablespoon of oil, a couple pinches of salt, and the last thing you're going to do is you're going to add 2 cups of water. Now you could add 2 cups of beef stock, 2 cups of chicken stock, 2 cups of vegetable stock, 2 cups of any type of stock that you want. We're just going to use water today, but you could use anything you want, and it's usually a 2-to-1 ratio. So it's 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water or any sort of liquid, okay? And what you want to do is you want to put that on the stove, and you want to bring this to the boil. Bring that to the boil, and we can you can cover it if you want. We don't have to cover it. We're just going to bring it to the boil. Once it comes to the boil, we're going to reduce the heat to a simmer, put the lid on it, and we'll let it cook a very low simmer for about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. And then what I like to do is take it off the heat, leave the lid still on it, and just let it sit for another 5 minutes, okay? Once that's done, you'll have perfect rice every time. It doesn't matter how you make it. If you make it that way, perfect rice every time, okay? So that while that's cooking, we're going to come over here and we're going to start to prepare our great pepper steak that we're doing today. And some of the ingredients that we're going to have for pepper steak is obviously we have peppers, and we also have steak. Okay, so we're going to use some pepper steak. We're going to also put in a nice onion, not all of this onion, a little too much. And we have some tomato paste, some butter, and we have some white wine or dry sherry, flour, and of course salt and pepper, and of course some beef stock that we're going to be using as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, what we have to do is we have to start preparing all of our meat and all of our product. But first what I want to do is I want to start cutting our vegetables. And we don't need all of the pepper, so we're just going to need a little bit of it. So we're just going to cut some of that pepper away. And I like to jazz things up a bit. I like to use different colors of pepper. And you could use yellow peppers and orange peppers and any type of peppers that you like, but I like to jazz it up a little bit instead of just leaving it brown and green. If you add a little bit of red to it, it makes it look nice. And all I'm doing is I'm going to cut strips out of this, 1/4-inch strips. Okay, 1/4-inch strips, pretty easy. And we'll continue to do that. And we're also going to cut our meat in strips as well. You can cube it if you want, but I have a tendency to like strips better because they cook a little bit more even. And if you cut your vegetables and you cut your meat pretty much the same, they're pretty much going to cook almost the same, especially if you do it all together. We're going to do it in separate. We're going to do a little separate. We're going to cook our meat first, and then we're going to add our peppers and onions. But if you're going to do it together, you could do it that way as well. Okay? So again, we're cutting these in strips, 1/4-inch pieces, and then we're going to cut our onion as well. If you want to put a little bit of garlic in this, you can. Shallots would work well as well. Okay, move our peppers off to the side. We're going to take our onion, and I would say we only need about 1/4 of our onion here because it's a big onion. And what you want to do is you want to cut it from root to tip, You don't want to cut that root off. You leave the root on so it'll stay intact, all right? And then you just trim the top part and peel it back. And you can see that the root end is still attached, okay? Holding all of these layers together. That's what you want. You want to do that. So then what I do is I take my knife and I slice down 1/4 inch pieces. Okay, 1/4 inch. Okay, and then I didn't go through the root ends. See, they're all 1/4 inch pieces. Then I cut that off, and then all I have to do is pull them apart, and look, they're all 1/4 inch strips, just like you did them by hand, but you kind of did, but you kind of didn't. Nature helped out a lot. Okay, so you have nice 1/4 inch strips, just like your peppers. Okay, so we're going to take our rice and we're going to put this off to the side, and we'll let that sit. And we're going to prepare our steak. Okay, now that we've done all of our vegetables, we'll prepare our steak. Put this on here. So I like to cut the steak into strips. You can see we're going to slice them down into strips. And if you see any fat, you could trim the fat away. Any extra fat that you have, you could just trim that out and move that off to the side. Okay. And then I like to take these strips and cut them down to the size of our peppers as well, so they all look great. If you wanted to put this in a wrap, you could do it in a wrap, just like a fajita. Okay. But we don't have any taco seasonings in this. This is similar to what a fajita would be, but without taco seasoning. Old-fashioned pepper steak. And again, we're going to trim this fat layer away. Put it off to the side. And we're going to trim this down, cutting it in strips again. Slicing it down. Just take your time. There's really no need to hurry with this. If you have a friend, you can absolutely do it. I'm going to continue with this steak. We're going to take a little break. When you come back, we're going to put together pepper steak.